Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Uh, Today our topic is UPSC Prelims 1981 PYQ solved with explanation. You will see question by question. I will also explain the answer also in the same video. So, who wrote Vande Matram? A. Rabindranath Tagore. B. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. C. Subhash Chandra Bose. D. Banking Chandra Chatterjee. The correct answer is D. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Vande Matram. Vande Matram is a famous patriotic song written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. This also spelled as Chattopadhyay. It was composed in the 1870s and became a significant symbol of the Indian independence movement. The song is the part of Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's novel Anandamat. It is published in 1882 and it played a vital role in inspiring Indian nationalists. So therefore, Vande Matram was written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Okay. The Constitution of India was actually ready in A. 1947, B. 1949, C. 1950, D. 1952. The correct answer is B. 1949. Constitution of India was actually completed and adopted by the Constituent Assembly on November 26, 1949. This date is also celebrated as Constitution Day or Samvidhan Divas in India. However, the Constitution came into effect on January 26, 1950, which is celebrated as a Republic Day in India. Therefore, the Constitution of India was actually ready in 1949. So, put the following mass communication media in the sequence in which they came into India. 1. Radio. 2. Television. 3. Films. 4. Printing. Here the correct answer is D. 4312. First printing and then films and then radio and then television. Okay. The first printing press was introduced in India by Portuguese in 1556 in Goa. This marked the beginning of mass communication through printed materials, including books, newspapers, and pamphlets. And second was films. The film industry in India began with the release of the first silent film called Raja Harishchandra by Dada Saheb Palke in 1913. This marked the start of Indian cinema. Third is radio. Radio broadcasting began in India in 1927 with the establishment of the Indian Broadcasting Company in Bombay and Kolkata. All India Radio was later established in 1936. And for television, television was introduced in India in 1959 with a small experimental telecast starting in Delhi. Regular television broadcasting began in 1965. This is the correct sequence is first printing, films, radio, and television. What is the old name of Zimbabwe? A. Rhodesia. B. Zambia. C. Namibia. D. Cambodia. The correct answer is A. Rhodesia. Zimbabwe was formerly known as Rhodesia. The name Rhodesia was derived from Cecil Rhodes, a British imperialist who played a significant role in the colonization of the region. The country was known as the Southern Rhodesia during British colonial rule and later simply as Rhodesia after declaring independence unilaterally 1965 under the white minority government. The name Zimbabwe was adopted when the country gained official independence in 1980 and was named after the ancient city of the Great Zimbabwe, a significant cultural and historical site in the country. Therefore, the whole name of Zimbabwe is Rhodesia. It takes 11 seconds for the light to reach the earth from moon and 8 minutes from the sun. How much time it will take from the nearest brightest star to reach the earth? A. 4.5 minutes. B. 45 minutes. C. 45 months. D. 4.3 light years. The correct answer is D. 4.3 light years. The light from the nearest brightest star. The nearest brightest star to the earth is Proxima Centauri, which is the part of the Alpha Centauri star system. The distance from the Proxima Centauri to Earth is approximately 4.24 light years. A light year is the distance that light travels in 1 year, which is about 9.46 trillion kilometers. Therefore, it would take light approximately 4.3 light years to travel from the nearest brightest star to the Earth. So the options given in the terms of minutes or months are not relevant because the vast distances in space are measured in the light years. When dealing with the stars outside our solar system, the correct answer is D. 4.3 light years. Which of the following courts covers more than one state or union territories? A. Delhi. B. Allahabad. C. Guwahati. D. None of this. Option C, Guwahati is the correct answer. The Guwahati High Court is unique in that it has jurisdiction over multiple states in the northeastern region of the India. Originally, it had jurisdiction over Assam, Nagaland, Meghalaya, and Arunachal Pradesh also. However, separate high courts have since been established for the some of these states, but it still covers multiple states. Other high courts, Delhi High Courts has jurisdiction only over the capital territory of Delhi. Next, the Allahabad High Court has jurisdiction over the state of Uttar Pradesh and a separate bench in Lucknow, but it covers only one state. Thus, the Guwahati High Court covers more than one state or union territory, making Guwahati the correct answer. So, what is the shortest route from Moscow to San Francisco? A. Moscow to Europe, crossing Atlantic and east of the North America. B. Over the North Pole and over Canada and crossing Pacific. C. Moscow to Siberia to Japan and crossing Pacific. D. Moscow to Europe to Greenland, crossing Atlantic and then North America. The option A. Moscow to Europe, crossing the Atlantic and east coast of North America, San Francisco. The distance is 12,200 kilometers. So option B, over the North Pole and over the Canada, crossing the Pacific. The distance is 9,444 kilometers. It is the shortest route. Option C, the Moscow to Siberia to Japan, crossing the Pacific. The distance is 15,803 kilometers. It is the longest route. And option D, Moscow to Europe to Greenland, crossing the Atlantic and then North America. The distance is 11,278 kilometers. The conclusion, the shortest route from Moscow to San Francisco is option B, via the North Pole, covering approximately 9,444 kilometers. Okay. The dispute regarding the election of Prime Minister and President of India can be decided by A. High Court, B. Election Tribunal, C. Chief Election Commissioner, D. None of the above. The correct answer is none of the above. Dispute resolution. Any disputes regarding the election of President or Prime Minister of India are decided by the Supreme Court of India. According to Article 71 of the Indian Constitution, the Supreme Court has the exclusive jurisdiction to adjudicate any disputes arising out of the election of the President and Vice President of India. For Prime Minister, any disputes related to their election as the Member of Parliament can also be challenged in the High Court, but the appointment or election to the office of the Prime Minister is not directly decided by High Court or Election Tribunal. Therefore, the correct answer is D, none of the above, as the Supreme Court of India handles these disputes. Okay. The first month of Sakayara is A. Chaitra, B. Vaishaka, C. Falguna, D. Pausha. The correct answer is Chaitra. Sakayara. The Sakayara, which is the official civil calendar used in India alongside the Gregorian calendar, begins in the month of Chaitra. The Chaitra typically falls in March to April in the Gregorian calendar. Thus, the first month of Sakayara is Chaitra. What is a land ceiling? A. To fix a land area for irrigation purposes. B. To fix rural land holdings at the existing level. C. To fix urban land holdings at the existing level. D. To fix the quantum of land held by the family. The correct answer is to fix the quantum of land held by a family, land ceiling. Land ceiling refers to the legal limit on the amount of land that an individual or family can own. This policy was introduced as a part of land reform measures to prevent the concentration of land ownership in the hands of only few and to promote equitable distribution of the land. The objective of land ceiling laws is to ensure that excess land above the prescribed ceiling is redistributed to landless or marginal farmers, thereby reducing inequality in land ownership. Thus, land ceiling means to fix the quantum of land held by a family. By which amendment of Constitution the fundamental duties of the citizens were specified? A. 38th, B. 40th, C. 42nd, D. 44th. The correct answer is 42nd Amendment. The fundamental duties of the citizens of India were specified by the fundamental duties of the citizens of India were specified by the 42nd Amendment of the Constitution, which was enacted in 1976. This amendment added a new part 4A to the Constitution, which includes Article 51A. The Article 51A lists the fundamental duties of every citizen of India. The 42nd Amendment is also known as the mini constitution because of the extensive changes it has brought to the constitution. Thus, the fundamental duties of citizens were specified by the 42nd Amendment to the constitution. Next, acts and regulations validated by Article 31B are specified in um, which part of the constitution? A. Concurrent list. B. State list. C. Union list. D. Ninth schedule. The correct answer is ninth schedule. Article 31B and the ninth schedule. Article 31B of the Indian Constitution was introduced by the First Amendment in 1951. This article provides that none of the laws specified in the ninth schedule can be challenged in courts on the grounds that they violate fundamental rights. The ninth schedule was created to protect land reform and other laws included in it from being challenged in the courts, thereby ensuring that their implementation without legal obstruction. Thus, acts and regulations validated by Article 31B are specified in the ninth schedule of the Constitution. Megasthenes visited the court of A. Ashoka, B. Harsha, C. Chandragupta Maurya, D. Vikramaditya. The correct answer is Chandragupta Maurya. Megasthenes was a Greek ambassador and a historian who visited the court of Chandragupta Maurya around 302 BCE. He was sent by Seleucus Nicator, one of the Alexander's the greatest generals, Alexander the Alexander the Great's generals, to establish diplomatic relations with the Mauryan Empire. Megasthenes is also known for his work on Indica, which provides valuable insights in the Mauryan Empire, including its administration, society, geography, etc. Thus, Megasthenes visited the court of Chandragupta Maurya. Earliest Indian coins belong to which period? A. 5th century BC, B. Ashoka reign, C. 1st century AD, D. 3rd century AD. The correct answer is A. 5th century BC. The earliest Indian coins are known as punch marked coins, and they date back to around the 5th century BC. These coins were made of silver and were stamped with various symbols rather than being inscribed or embossed. These coins were used during the periods of the Mahajanapadas, the ancient Indian kingdoms, and they are considered among the earliest forms of currency in India. Therefore, the earliest Indian coins belong to the 5th century BC. Bijak was written by A. Tulsidas, B. Ramdas, C. Guru Nanak, D. Kabir Das. The correct answer is D. Kabir Das. Bijak is a collection of the verses and teachings of Kabir Das, a 15th century Indian mystic poet and saint. The Kabir's verses focus on devotion to a formless God, criticism of rituals and social hierarchies, and the unity of all religions. The Bijak is one of the most important texts in the Kabir Panth tradition, and it reflects the Kabir's ideas on spirituality, ethics, and the nature of the God. Therefore, Kabir Das is the author of the Bijak. Which statement about Amir Khusro is not true? A. He worked for Hindu Muslim unity. B. He was a great poet. C. He was a great historian. D. He wrote poetry in Hindi and Urdu. The correct answer is he worked for the Hindu Muslim unity. While Amir Khusro works reflect a blend of Persian and Indian culture, there is no direct evidence to suggest that he explicitly advocated for Hindu Muslim unity as a political or religion goal. He was more focused on cultural contributions, including music, literature, and poetry. And his writings included praise for rulers and patrons from the Delhi Sultanate, who were predominantly Muslim. His contributions were more cultural and literary rather than the explicitly promoting Hindu Muslim unity as a mission. What is the correct order of happenings of the following three events in the British rule of India? 1. Rowlatt Act, 2. Hunter Report, 3. Jallianwala Bagh tragedy. So the correct order of happens during the British rule in India is as follows. First, Rowlatt Act, second, Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, and Hunter Report. So the correct order is A 132. So the Rowlatt Act, also known as Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act of 1919, was passed by the Imperial Legislature Council in Delhi on 10th March 1919. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre took place on 13th April 1919. Many villagers had gathered in the park for the celebration of Baisakhi and to peacefully protest the arrest and deportation of two national leaders called Satyapal and Saifuddin Kichlo. And the Hunter Report Commission was appointed to investigate the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. The report was published on 26th May 1920 and highlighted the brutality of the incident. Therefore, the correct order is 132. Which of the following represents the integration of Hindus and Muslims for a common cause? A. Khilafat movement. B. Quit India movement. C. Civil disobedience movement. D. None of the above. The correct answer is Khilafat movement. Khilafat movement was a significant political campaign launched by Indian Muslims to protect the Ottoman Caliphate after World War One. The movement sought to preserve the authority of Ottoman Sultan as a Khalifa, spiritual leader of Islam. The Mahatma Gandhi saw an opportunity to unite Hindus and Muslims in a common cause against the British colonial rule, and he supported the Khilafat movement as a part of a broader struggle for Indian independence. So this movement is one of the notable instances where Hindus and Muslims came together for a common cause, which was both religious and political in nature. The Khilafat movement represents the integration of Hindus and Muslims for a common cause, making option A the correct answer. The Purna Swaraj Day was observed on A. 26 November 1947, B. 26 October 1949, C. 26 January 1950, D. 26 January 1930. The correct answer is 26 January 1930. The Purna Swaraj Day. The Indian National Congress declared Purna Swaraj, complete independence, as the goal of the Indian independence movement on 26 January 1930. This declaration was made at the Lahore session of the Congress in December 1929, presided over by Jawaharlal Nehru. As a result, 26 January 1930 was observed as a Purna Swaraj Day across India, marking the day when the Indian people pledged to fight for complete independence from the British ruler. Later, when India became a republic, the Constitution of India was adopted on 26 November 1949 and came into effect on 26 January 1950, honoring the significance of the Purna Swaraj Day. Thus, Purna Swaraj Day was observed on 26 January 1930. So, whom did Gandhiji consider his political guru? A. Vinoba Bhave, B. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, C. Gopal Krishna Gokhale, D. Dadabhai Nauroji. So the correct answer is C. Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Mahatma Gandhi considered Gopal Krishna Gokhale as his political guru, mentor. Gokhale was a senior leader of Indian National Congress and a social reformer who advocated for moderate and constitutional methods to achieve political reforms in India. And Gandhi was deeply influenced by Gokhale's ideals of non-violence, moderate approach, and commitment to social reforms. Gokhale's guidance and principles significantly shaped Gandhi's own approach to the Indian independence movement. Therefore, Gopal Krishna Gokhale was regarded by Gandhiji as his political guru. So, which of the following periods can be considered as the era of mass revolution? A. 1856 to 1885 AD, B. 1757 to 1857 AD, C. 1920 to 1947 AD, D. 1909 to 1919 AD. So the correct answer is C. 1920 to 1947 AD. This period in Indian history is considered the era of mass revolution because it marks the peak of the Indian independence movement, characterized by widespread participation from all sections of society. Key events during this period include the non-cooperation movement 1920 to 22, and the civil disobedience movement from 1930 to 1934, the quit India movement 1942, and eventually India's independence in the 1947. So the Mahatma Gandhi emerged as a central figure during this time, leading large-scale non-violent protest against British rule and mobilizing millions of Indians in struggle for independence. Therefore, the period 1920 to 1947 AD is rightly considered the era of mass revolution in India. The Indian patriot who died in jail due to hunger strike was A. S.C. Bose, Subhash Chandra Bose, B. Bhagat Singh, C. Jatin Das, D. Bipin Chandrapal. The correct answer is Jatin Das. Jatin Das was an Indian freedom fighter who died in jail due to the hunger strike. He was arrested for his involvement in revolutionary activities against British rule and was imprisoned in Lahore Central Jail. Jatin Das went on a hunger strike in 1929 to protest the inhuman treatment of political prisoners. After fasting for 63 days, he died on 13 September 1929, making him a martyr in Indian struggle for Indian independence. Therefore, Jatin Das is the Indian patriot who died in the jail due to hunger strike. The community development program was launched on the birthday of Gandhiji in the year A 1950, B 1952, C 1956, D 1963. The correct answer is B 1952. Community development program was launched in India on October 2nd, 1952, which is the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi. The program aimed at providing a holistic approach to rural development by improving agriculture, promoting rural industries, and enhancing social services in rural areas. The launch of a program on Gandhi's birthday was symbolic, reflecting his ideals of self reliance and grassroots development. Therefore, the community development program was launched in the year 1952. So, why did the Muhammad bin Tughlaq change his capital from Delhi to Hyderabad or Diogiri? A. Because he wanted to improve the trade in Deccan. He want B. Because he wanted to spread Islam in Deccan. C. Because he wanted to punish the people of Delhi. D. Because he wanted to escape from Mongolian invasion. The Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the Sultan of Delhi, changed his capital from Delhi to Diogari, which he renamed Dolatabad for several reasons. But the primary reason was because he wanted to escape from the Mongolian invasion. Which Mughal ruler introduced the Mansabdari system in India? A. Akbar, B. Humayun, C. Shah Jahan, D. Babur. The correct answer is A. Akbar. Mansabdari system was introduced by Emperor Akbar, the third Mughal ruler, as a means of organizing the military and civil administration of the empire. The system assigned ranks to the officials, which determined their military responsibilities and the number of soldiers they had to maintain. The Mansabdari system was an important part of Akbar's centralization efforts and played a crucial role in the efficient administration of the Mughal Empire. Therefore, the Mansabdari system was introduced in India by Akbar. Who among the following were associated with the birth of Swarajya Party? A. C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru. B. C.R. Das and Sardar Patel. C. Motilal Nehru and Rajendra Prasad. D. None of the above. The correct answer is C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru. Swaraj Party was founded in 1923 by Chittaranjan Das, C.R. Das, and Motilal Nehru. The party was formed as a result of a split within the Indian National Congress over the issue of whether or not to participate in the legislature councils established by the British government. C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru were in favor of entering the councils to obstruct the government from within, whereas others in the Congress were opposite to this approach. The Swarajya Party aimed to achieve self governance through constitutional means and played a significant role in Indian politics during the 1920s. Therefore, C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru were associated with the birth of Swarajya Party. So, who among the following was responsible for the revival of Hinduism in 19th century? A. Swami Dayanand. B. Swami Vivekanand. C. Guru Shankaracharya. D. Rajaram Mohan Rai. So, correct answer is Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda is widely credited with the revival of Hinduism in the 19th century, particularly through his efforts to introduce Hindi philosophy to the West. He became famous after his inspiring speech at the Parliament of the World Religions in Chicago in 1893, where he spoke about the spiritual and universal aspect of Hinduism. He emphasized the core values of Vedanta and yoga, promoting a vision of Hinduism that was tolerant, inclusive, and focused on service to humanity. Swami Vivekananda's work through the Ramakrishna Mission, which is founded in 1897, spread his message of Hindu spirituality, and his teachings helped restore pride in Hindu culture. He encouraged Indians to appreciate their spiritual heritage while also pushing for social reforms and modern education. He played a crucial role in awakening the national consciousness and empowering people to revive their cultural roots. His ideas went beyond religious reforms to include spiritual revival, national pride, and upliftment of the society. Okay, so Swami Dayanand Saraswati, the founder of Arya Samaj, was a significant figure in the religious reform of Hinduism. His famous slogan was back to Vedas, and he advocated for the return to Vedic ideals, rejecting ideal worship, the caste system as it had evolved, the superstition. His contributions were focused on reforming Hinduism internally rather than promoting it on global stage. While Dayanand played a key role in reforming Hindu practices, his focus was more on internal reform within the India rather than a broad revival of the international sense. Like Guru Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya lived in 8th century, much earlier than the 19th century. He's credited with reviving Advaita Vedanta and reinforcing the importance of Vedic knowledge during the time when Buddhism and Jainism were prominent. While he was a pivotal figure in Hindu philosophy, he does not fit within the 19th century context of revival. His contributions were much earlier and unrelated to the 19th century Hindu revival movement. Next, Rajaram Mohan Rai. Rajaram Mohan Rai was a key figure in the social and educational reform of India, knowing for known for founding the Brahma Samaj in 1828. He is credited with efforts to modernize Indian society by promoting rational thought, advocating for the abolition of sati and child marriage, and pushing for modern education also. However, his work was more focused on social and religious reforms in a broader sense rather than specifically reviving Hinduism. His focus was more on modernizing religion and Indian society rather than reviving Hindu spiritual traditions specifically. On which date the Constitution of India was adopted by the Constituent Assembly. A. 15th August 1947, B. 26th January 1950, C. 26th November 1949, D. 30th January 1948. The correct answer is C. 26th November 1949. The Constitution of India was adopted and enacted by the Constitutional Assembly on 26th November 1949. This day is celebrated as Constitution Day or Samvidhan Divas in India. However, the Constitution came in full effect on 26th January 1950, which is celebrated as Republic Day in India. Therefore, the correct date when the Constitution of India was adopted and enacted by the Constitutional Assembly is 26th November 1949. When a person moves from poles to equator, the population of plants and animals will A. Increase, B. Decrease, C. Remain unchanged, D. Not show any consistent behavior. So the correct answer is A. Increase. The biodiversity tends to increase as one moves from the poles towards the equator. This is because the tropical region near the equator have more favorable environmental conditions such as higher temperature, more sunlight, abundant rainfall, and supporting a greater variety of plants and animals. Rickets is caused due to the deficiency of option A. Option A, deficiency of vitamin A. Option B, deficiency of vitamin D. C, with deficiency of vitamin C. D, low intake of proteins. So the correct answer is B, deficiency of vitamin D. Rickets is a condition that affects bone development in children, leading to soft and weak bones. It is caused by a deficiency of vitamin D, which is essential for the absorption of calcium and phosphorus, critical minerals for healthy bone formation. Identical twins are born when A. Two sperms fertilize one ovum, B. Two sperms fertilize two ovumes simultaneously, C. One sperm fertilizes the ovum and the zygote divides into two separate cells developing independently, D. One sperm fertilizes two ovums. The correct answer is option C. One sperm fertilizes the ovum and the zygote divides into two separate cells, developing independently. Identical twins, also known as monozygotic twins, occur when a single fertilized zygote splits into two separate embryos early in the development. These twins share the same genetic material and are of the same sex, often looking very much alike. Heart patients should avoid taking excess of A. Proteins, B. Fats, C. Vitamins, D. Carbohydrates. The correct answer is B. Fats. Excessive intake of fats, particularly saturated fats and trans fats, can lead to the buildup of cholesterol in the arteries, increasing the risk of heart disease. Heart patients are typically advised to limit their fat intake and focus on a balanced diet that supports cardiovascular health. How dehydration helps in the preservation of the food? A. Growth of microorganisms is checked. B. Mm, nutrients are concentrated. C. Surface of foodstuffs become hard. D. Chemical reactions stop in the absence of water. The correct answer is option A. The growth of microorganisms is checked by removing the water from the food. Dehydration inhibits the growth of microorganisms such as bacteria, yeast, mold, and which need moisture to grow and multiply. This effectively slows down or stops the spoilage process, allowing the food to be restored for a longer period. What is done to raise the dough while making bread? A. Alcohol is added. B. Yeast is added. C. Carbon dioxide is passed. D. Air is passed. The correct answer is B. Yeast is added. Yeast is added to the dough while making the bread because it ferments the sugar because present in the dough, producing carbon dioxide gas. This gas forms bubbles, causing the dough to rise and giving the bread its light and airy texture. How the body temperature is maintained? A. Due to temperature regulating mechanism located in the base of the brain. B. Due to excessive intake of water. C. Due to regular intake of foods. D. Due to constant flow of blood in the capillaries. The body temperature is maintained due to temperature regulating mechanism located in the base of the brain. The body temperature is regulated by hypothalamus, a small region located in the base of the brain. The hypothalamus acts as the body thermostat, maintaining constant internal temperature by triggering various physiological responses, such as sweating to cool down or shivering to generate heat, depending on the external environment and body needs. Why the countries are scared to import fruits? A. Because they become rotten easily and spread diseases. B. Because they are not easily adjustable to new climate. C. Because insects carried through fruits are dangerous. D. All of the above. Correct answer is because the insect carried through fruits are dangerous. The countries are often cautious about importing fruits because they carry insects, pests, or diseases that may not be present in the importing country. These pests can be harmful to local agriculture, ecosystems, and even human health. The introduction of a non-native insect or pathogens can lead to significant ecological and ecological economic damage, which is why strict quarantine and inspection measures are often taken in place of importing of the fruits. Which of the following statements is true? A. Both salinity and the density of the sea increase with depth. B. Both salinity and density of sea decrease with depth. C. Salinity increases but density of sea decreases with depth. D. Salinity decreases but the density of sea increases with depth. The correct answer is A. Both salinity and density of sea increase with the depth. In the vertical distribution of salinity in the ocean, several key factors influence the changes in salinity and density with depth. The first factor is surface layer. At the surface, the salinity is typically lower because due to the process such as precipitation, river inflows, and melting ice. Fresh water from these sources reduces the concentration of salt, leading to the lower salinity at the surface in many regions. And next point is halocline. Below the surface, there is often a distinct layer called the halocline, where salinity increases sharply with the depth. This occurs because the denser the saltier water sinks, while the less saline, lighter water stays near the surface. The halocline is analogous to the thermocline, where temperature changes rapidly with the depth. As salinity increases in this zone, this it results in a corresponding increase in density too. Since higher salinity contributes to higher water density, the stratification by salinity. Next is stratification by salinity. Seawater stratifies forms layers based on its salinity and density. High salinity water tends to sink below lower water, and it's due to its greater density. It creates a stratification where salinity and density increase with the depth in many parts of the ocean. Next, density. Density in seawater is influenced by both salinity and temperature. In case since salinity is increasing, the depth in the halocline and the cold water, which is denser, is typically found at the greater depths. The overall density increases as well. Dysentery, dysentery and influenza are caused by A. Bacteria, B. Viruses, C. bacteria and viruses respectively. D. Viruses and bacteria respectively. The correct answer is bacteria and viruses respectively. So dysentery is typically caused by bacteria such as Shigella or Escherichia coli, although it can also be caused by parasites like Entamoeba histolytica and amoebic dysentery. Influenza is caused by influenza virus. Which organ is associated with the production of insulin in the body? A. Pancreas, B. Liver, C. Kidney, D. Heart. The correct answer is A. Pancreas. The pancreas is the organ responsible for producing insulin, a hormone that regulates blood sugar levels in the body. Mark the correct answer. A. Planets have an apparent motion and twinkle. B. Planets have no apparent motion but twinkle. C. Planets have an apparent motion but do not twinkle. D. Planets have no apparent motion and do not twinkle. The correct answer is planets have an apparent motion but do not twinkle. The planets exhibit apparent motion across the sky due to their orbits around the sun, but they do not twinkle like stars. Twinkling or scintillation is caused by its atmosphere and is more noticeable for stars because they are point sources of light. Planets being closer to the Earth and appearing as disks rather than the points. They do not twinkle in the same way. Why camphor disappears when kept on a plate? A. It sublimes. B. It reacts with the metal of the container. C. It reacts with the gases of the air. D. None of the above. The correct answer is it sublimes. The camphor is a substance that undergoes sublimation, which means it transitions directly from solid to gas without passing through liquid phase. When camphor is kept on a plate, it gradually disappears as it sublimates into the air. The sex of the offspring is determined when A. The conception takes place, B. The sperm fertilizes the ovum, C. The embryo is partially developed, D. The end of the gestation period is near. The correct answer is B. The sperm fertilizes the ovum. The sex of the offspring is determined at the moment when the sperm fertilizes the ovum. This is because the sex chromosomes carried by the sperm, either X or Y, combine with the X chromosome of the ovum to form the XX female or XY chromosome male. Thus, the sex of the offspring is genetically determined at the time of fertilization. Color blindness is A. More common among women, B. Very rare in women, C. Very rare in men, D. Found to same extent both in the men and women. The correct answer is B. Very rare in women. The color blindness is more common in men than in women. This is because the genes responsible for most of the common types of color blindness, such as red green color blindness, are located on the X chromosome, while the men have only one X chromosome. If they inherit the gene of color blindness, they will express the condition. Women, on the other hand, have two X chromosomes, so they would need to inherit the gene from both parents to express the condition, making it much rarer in the woman. Next, what happens when alcohol is taken in excess? A. It destroys the liver. B. It produces inflammation of the stomach. C. It causes the heart to become weak. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. Excess alcohol consumption can have multiple harmful effects on the body, including liver damage, stomach inflammation, and heart weakness, etc. So, in the liver damage, it can cause the fatty liver and stomach inflammation. It cause the inflammation of stomach lining, gastritis, and heart weakness like cardiomyopathy, alcoholic cardiomyopathy, and it can even result to the heart failure. When the rice is boiled, it expands because A. The starch gelatinizes and swells. B. The starch gets polymerized. C. The grain absorb moisture and swell. D. Sugars break down into grains. The correct answer for rice expansion is that the grain absorbs moisture from boiling water, causing them to swell and become soft. This uniform water absorption affects the entire grain, leading to the full softening of the rice after cooking. So therefore, the correct answer is C. The grains absorb moisture and swell. Gypsum is added to the soil. A. To increase alkalinity. B. To decrease the acidity. C. To decrease the alkalinity. D. As an insecticide. The correct answer is C. To decrease the alkalinity. Gypsum helps to improve soil structure by breaking up compacted clay soils and reducing soil alkalinity. It also aids in the removal of excess sodium from the soil, improving water infiltration and root growth. Maximum production of a paddy per unit water consumption can be best achieved in a non-porous soil, B porous soil, C impervious soil, D soil that allows slow percolation. The correct answer is D, the soil that allows the slow percolation. The soil, to achieve maximum production of paddy rice, the soil needs to be retain moisture while allowing slow percolation of water. The rice is typically grown in a waterlogged conditions where consistent moisture is crucial for this growth. The ideal soil for rice cultivation should have the following properties like slow percolation. It allows water to slowly seep through the soil, providing consistent moisture to the rice roots without excessive water loss, and the soil that allow slow percolation retain water for a longer period, reducing the need for a frequent irrigation and conserving water. The other why the other options are not ideal is non-porous soil. This type of soil does not allow water to move through it, which can lead to poor drainage and water stagnation, negatively impacting the plant roots and aeration. Next, be porous soil. Highly porous soil allow water to drain too quickly, meaning the soil will not retain enough moisture for the paddy to grow optimally, resulting in the higher water consumption. Impervious soil. A soil through which water, air, or roots penetrate slowly or not at all. While impervious soil may hold water at the surface, it can lead to waterlogging and poor oxygen supply to the roots, which can harm the rice plants. Thus, the best soil for paddy cultivation, ensuring maximum production with efficient water use is D. Soil that allows slow percolation. Which of the following crops have the highest photosynthetic activity? A. Cotton. B. Sugarcane. C. Rice. D. Wheat. The crop with the highest photosynthetic activity among the options is B. Sugarcane. Sugarcane has highly efficient photosynthetic pathway known as C4 photosynthesis. It allows it to have a higher rate of photosynthesis and biomass production compared to the other crops like cotton, rice, wheat, and which typically use the less efficient C3 photosynthetic pathway. Which of the following statement about the cultivation of tea and coffee is true? A. Tea grows at a higher altitude than a coffee. B. Coffee grows at a higher altitude than tea. C. Both grew at about same altitude. D. There is no climatic relationship between these two crops. The correct answer is A. Tea grows at a higher altitude than a coffee. For tea cultivation, both lowland and highland regions, but in many important tea regions such as Darjeeling, Sri Lanka, Central Highlands, and tea is grown on altitudes as high as 1200 to over 2000 meters. In fact, tea grown at higher elevations are often considered to be a superior quality due to the cooler temperature, which slow the growth and enhance the flavor of the leaves. Though the tea soil liquids a well-drained acidic soil which has a pH of around 4.5 to 5.5. The soil should not retain excessive moisture as waterlogging can damage the tea plants. High altitude areas, high altitude areas, whereas tea is grown often, have soil which is rich in organic material and well drained. The climate that is required for tea growth is 15 degrees to 25 degrees Celsius, and it requires a heavy rainfall of 150 to 250 centimeter per year. And the combination of well-drained soil and regular rainfall is critical for the healthy tea plants. Next, coffee cultivation. The altitude required for the coffee cultivation is 800 to 1200 meters. The coffee also requires specific climatic conditions found at these altitudes. The soil should be well drained and slightly acidic with the pH of 6 to 6.5. Poorly drained or waterlogged soil can harm the coffee. The plant's root system, coffee plants thrive in loose, crumbly, and well aerated soils that allow for good drainage. Next, climate. Coffee prefers a warm climate of 15 degrees to 24 degrees and the moderate rainfall of 150 to 250 centimeters with a dry period of the cherries to ripen properly. Which soil is best suited for paddy crop? A. Black soil. B. Loamy soil. C. Hard soil. D. Red soil. The best suited soil for paddy crop is loamy soil. Loamy soil has a balanced mixture of sand, silt, and clay. It is ideal for paddy cultivation. It has a good water retention capacity and proper drainage, which are essential for the growth of rice. Loamy soils also provide the right texture for the roots to develop and absorb nutrients effectively. Different seasons are formed because A. Sun is moving around the earth. B. Of revolution of earth around the sun or on orbit. C. Of rotation of earth around its axis. D. All of the above. The different seasons are formed because of the revolution of the earth around the sun on its orbit. The Earth revolution around the Sun combined with the tilt of its axis causes different parts of the Earth to receive various amounts of sunlight throughout the year, leading to the changing seasons. The tilt of Earth's axis means that the Earth orbits the Sun. Different hemispheres are tilted towards or away from the Sun at different types of year, creating the seasons. So there are two places P and Q. The longitudes of P and Q are 45 degrees eastern longitude and 60 degrees western longitude respectively, which will what will be the difference in their local time? A 7 hours, B 6 hours, C 3.5 hours, D both places will have the same local time. So the correct answer is 7 hours. The earth rotates 360 degrees in 24 hours, so it rotates 15 degrees in 1 hour. The difference in the longitude between P 45 degrees east and 60 degrees west is 105 degrees. So to find the difference in local time, we have to minus the 105 degrees and 15 degrees per hour equal to 7 hours. So the difference in local time between the two places is 7 hours. You can also calculate it by 1 degree is equal to 4 minutes difference. Okay. The humidity of air, A, increases with the increase in atmospheric temperature. B, decreases with the increase in atmospheric temperature. C, it is not affected by the change in atmospheric temperature. D, does not show any consistent behavior with the change in atmospheric temperature. The correct answer is A, increases with the increase in atmospheric temperature. As temperature increases, the air can hold more water vapor, which can lead to an increase in humidity. Warmer air has a greater capacity to absorb the moisture, resulting in higher humidity levels. Conversely, when the temperature decreases, the air can hold less moisture, leading to lower humidity. The Himalayan rivers are perennial because A, they flow from inexhaustible springs in Himalayas. B, they are fed in summer by melting snow of Himalayas. C, there is a continuous rain throughout the year in catchment areas. D, none of the above. The correct answer is B. They fed in summer by melting snow of the Himalayas. Himalayan rivers are perennial because they are primarily fed by the melting snow and glaciers from the Himalayas, especially during the summer months. This ensures a continuous flow of water throughout the year. Even even when there is no rainfall. Why there is a severe difference in the climates of northern and southern hemispheres? A, due to rotation of Earth around its axis. B, due to revolution of Earth around the Sun of its orbit. C, both of the above. D, none of the above. The correct answer is B. Due to the revolution of Earth around the Sun on its orbit. The significant difference in the climates of the northern and southern hemispheres is mainly due to the tilt of the its axis, and it revolves around the sun. And how it works is the earth axis is tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees. The tilt causes different parts of the earth to achieve various amounts of sunlight throughout the air as the earth revolves around the sun. As the earth moves in its orbit, the northern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun during the summer months, like June to August, receiving more direct sunlight and longer days, leading to the warmer temperature. At the same time, southern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun, resulting in the shorter days, less direct sunlight, and colder temperature winter. Conversely, during the southern hemisphere summer, December to February, the situation is reversed. The southern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun, and the northern hemisphere is tilted away because this severe climatic differences between two hemispheres at different times of year. That's why the other options are incorrect. Yeah, due to rotation of Earth around its axis. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet.